This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Joining us today is Steve Winfield, the non-executive director at Igraine PLC. Hi Steve, how are you doing? Good to be speaking to you again.
Hi Mark, yeah, likewise. Thanks for having us on again.
No, it's good to be talking to you just before we finish up the year here. So let's catch up on some of the recent news from Igraine over the last couple of months. So first of all, the AGM that was held on the 29th of November. So all resolutions passed, which is good. David Levis appointed as CEO, Simon Grant-Rennick now non-exec chairman, and yourself now non-exec director. So just give us a bit of an idea of this sort of board restructuring and what it really means for the company going forward.
Yeah, so since the AGM, David's come on board, who's the leader of all of our battery storage investments moving forward. So it made sense for him to come on to guide that sort of new initiative for us. So I moved across to non-exec, and Simon now is the non-exec chairman. But yeah, David's the driving force behind all of our new initiatives, and Simon and I obviously have the background around all the sort of legacy investments that we're managing in the background as well.
Good. Okay, I know we talked a lot last time about the battery storage side of the business, and David, really heading that up, and that's going to be the focus, I believe, of Igraine now. So let's just talk a little bit about the announcement that was made on I think it was 13th of December, where you received the first 50,000 from Vela Technologies. So that's the investment there required to complete that signing of that subsidiary with Gem Energia to start development of one of these sites in the northwest of England.
Yeah, so we obviously have been engaged with Gem for some time before the AGM was all concluded. So spent a long time going through their portfolio of sites, and having the investment rights granted with Gem Energia basically gives us first pick on the sites that we want to progress. And that new site in the northwest of England seemed to be the lowest hanging fruit. It was one that was always the front runner. So it didn't make our decision too hard to progress that one initially. There's been a lot of pre-app work that went into that site that Gem carried out over the last sort of 6 to 12 months as well. So we sort of hit the ground running, and that's our first proper site that we're engaging with and progressing through planning as we speak.
Okay. Can you give any more details on that, northwest of England, or do you have to be sort of as vague as that?
Yeah, so we'd like to. We got advised by Andy Brown, who's the lead on the project, who works extensively with David, that until you actually physically get that grid application, which should be early in January, February, then once we're locked in, we've got the grid contract, then we can obviously announce all the details on the grid connection that we've got and exactly where it is and more details surrounding that project. But it's just a bit privy to sort of keep that under wraps while we're putting that grid app in.
Good. Okay. But that's the first real project in this space there, and you're just waiting for that grid application to be granted, as you say, January, February, and then plans ready to go to start sort of developing the site immediately.
Yeah. So the planning commences as soon as you've got that grid confirmation with the DNO, then you can start the full planning process, which is typically sort of 12 to 18 months. But this one, we've got a sort of we've got a running start with it because of the background that Gem's done with it.
Okay, sure. Well, I would encourage any listeners that watch us today to see the interview we did, I think about a month or 6 weeks ago, where we did do a bit more of a deeper dive with David onto that whole project. But I'm hoping we can certainly catch up with David in the new year, as it looks like things are going to be picking up quite a lot on that side of the business. RNS today, then, the company's investment in Fixit Medical. So that's quite significant. So FDA approval in the US has happened, and also they've got some new devices as well and grants as well. So just bring us up to speed on Fixit. I know it's not something that you're actively involved in, but it's a significant investment for Igraine, isn't it?
Yeah, so the FDA hasn't been approved. They're going for it. So initially they were just going to get it CE approved and fully regulated here in the UK, which obviously expands across Europe as well. But they've taken the decision that obviously the US is the biggest market for this sort of product. So they're going to run that in parallel to all of the UK regulation. But yeah, really exciting. We also announced that they've gone into 3 other device areas. These are complementary. Doesn't mean that they're going to get them to the same stage as Singo, the primary device, but they're certainly going to get them to prototype stage. Patents have already been filed with those, because there's a big differentiator with businesses in that sector that have a family of devices that have applications in multiple areas rather than one device in one area. So that was the logic behind that. But it's not something they've just thought of overnight. It's been in the works for a long time, but we were happy to announce it today.
Okay. So just on Fixit and, of course, the other historical investments that Igraine have. I mean, I know the main focus of the direct project, let's say, is on the battery storage side of things. But when it comes to the historical investments here, how much of a sort of, weighting you giving that in terms of attention, and what does it mean for the company in terms of potential upside to come, as well as, of course, the main activities on the battery storage side?
Yeah, we see really significant upside in Fixit as the primary. We've got a big stake in Oscillate, so we're just waiting for developments there with their big hydrogen project. Then we've got a couple of other legacy items, one of which has come to fruition, which we'll be announcing in due course, which is quite positive as well, just tidying everything up. So yeah, we've got a bit of a basket of investments, but the primary focus moving forward actively will be on the battery storage and putting together more capital to develop out more projects. So the idea is to have 3, 4, 5 projects with Gem Energy are all running in parallel, all going through planning at the various different stages, because that's where we see the real big exit upside. If you take a typical site of 100,000 megawatt, the price once it's got to RTB can be 120,000 per megawatt minus grid. So the net proceeds can be anywhere from sort of 60 to 80,000 per megawatt, which obviously is £6 to £8 million on that 100 megawatt site. So considering the upside of what the planning costs, around 200, 250, the upside arbitrage is quite significant in there. So our focus is really getting as many of them active and through planning as quickly as possible.
Good. So just to get an idea of what Q1 looks like, is it all focus on the battery storage projects then? And how does it come when it, in terms of managing the legacy investments, looking for exit strategies, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so we're working on further financing for the battery storage. So expect some announcements on that. Okay. All the planning as we reach various stages will be announced. There'll be an announcement on a legacy item as well, as I mentioned. And further announcements from Fixit as they're going through the final bits of the regulatory. So plenty of news flow next year. I think 2025 would be a really big year for Igraine.
Good. Well, thank you very much for that little update today. Steve Winfield, the non-executive director at Igraine PLC.
Thanks, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.